For writing today, we're going to do 2 practice pages. Practice page 29 and practice page 30. You will need a pencil, scissors, glue, and then crayons or markers if you want. We are going to start with page 29, where we see those broken toys that were saying some silly sounds or some sounds that they weren't supposed to be making, and Doc had to fix them. So let's start by putting our name on the top. So remember when Doc was fixing these toys, they had some speech bubbles above them. In fact, you could even look back at the page in your Doc book if you wanted to help you remember. And this one has color, so you might remember better when we did this listening page. So remember, these were called the speech bubbles, and that's what the character was saying is inside the speech bubble. So on this page, we're going to read what's in these speech bubbles and see if we can remember who they go with or what toy they go with. So on this page, you will also need, not yet, to be a no, but you will need later glue and scissors. So let's start with the top speech bubble. Remember, we chop first and then we blend it back together and then we say the word. And these aren't real words, they're just kind of silly sounds. K, ah. Try that again with me. K, ah. Now let's start blending, stretching those sounds out. Ka, ka. Look, it's a C and an O again. This is the same group of letters 3 times. Ka, ka, ka. Let's read that one more time. Your finger should be touching by the letters and where these almost words are, so that your eyes are following your finger. Ka, ka, ka. Good. Now let's check out the next speech bubble. I see an O and a C and then another O and C. So it's going to be the same sound here, or sounds, and the same sounds here. Let's try chopping it. Ah, k, ah, k, ah, k, ah, k, ah, k, ah, k. I think I remember which one said that. All right, let's move to the next speech bubble. I see a D and an A and a D and an A. It's the same sounds here as it will be here. D, A. Chop it again with me. D, A, da, 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 da. And then we have one more. A, k, ack, ack, ack. Good. If you need to try those again, you can try them again. You can pause the video and read them on your own. The next part that we have to do is cut these out. So now we are ready to decide which toy has which speech bubble. So let's look at the speech bubble that says ack, ack. And then let's remember on this page, which toy said ack, 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 ack? Do you see which one? Yes, it's the clock. The clock was supposed to say tick-tock, but instead it was saying ack, ack. So let's glue that down. Now find the speech bubble that says ack, ack. And let's look back at our page here. Which toy says ack, ack? Ah, there it is. It was the duck that was supposed to say quack, quack, which is kind of like ack, ack, but sounds like some sounds are missing. Now find the speech bubble that says da, da. Which toy said da, da? We have 2 left to choose from. The rooster, these the same letters? No. The baby? Yes, the baby was saying da, da, which sounds like a real word, but it was supposed to say mama. So that's why Doc had to fix it. And the last one was ka, ka, ka. And that's our rooster. Ka, ka, ka. All right, now that we have them all glued down, let's go back and read what the toys are saying one more time in their speech bubble. And I really want you to practice using your finger to point to the letters while we read. Da, da. Let's do it one more time. Da, da. Ak, ak. Let's do it one more time. Ak, ak. Let's try the duck. Ack, ack. Let's do that one more time. Ack, ack. And let's read what the rooster's saying. Ka, ka, ka. One more time. Ka, ka, ka. Super. If you'd like to color these pictures, you can. And then we're going to move on to page 30. On page 30, we need to start by putting our name on the top. I've been talking with people about how you should remember when you do your name, the first letter gets an uppercase letter and then the rest are small or lowercase. The first letter gets an uppercase letter and the rest are lowercase. They're usually the shorter ones, okay? Some people are still using all uppercase letters to write their name, and we don't want to do that anymore because that's not how we write our words. The next thing we have to do on this page is trace the letters at the top. And when we trace them, we're going to say what their name is, and we're going to make the sound that they make. So it's going to look like this. This is the letter C, and C says K. Try that. All right, now let's try the letter O. Ah, ah, ah. The letter G. G, g, g. The letter A. A, a, a. The letter D. D, d, d. Now that we traced all of those letters, we're going to name the pictures, and whichever sound we hear at the beginning of that word that's in the picture, we're going to write the lowercase letter for, okay? So say the word apple. Which letter are we hearing at the beginning of apple? That's the letter A. Please make sure you're starting your A at the middle line and curving down to the chocolate and back up and pull down. If your A is too tall, erase and fix. If your A is too far down, erase and fix. If it's floating in the middle, erase and fix. Say dog. What do you hear at the beginning of dog? Point to it. Which letter are we going to write? You should be pointing to the letter D. Dog. Say clown. What do you hear at the beginning of clown? Point to the letter up here that you hear. Clown. You should be pointing to the letter C because we hear Say glasses. What letter do you hear at the beginning of glasses? Point to it. You should be pointing to the letter G. Glasses. Remember to pause if you need more time to catch up. I'm kind of moving a little faster than I would in class. So if you are falling behind, just pause the video and you can catch up and come right back. Say drum. Point to the letter you hear at the beginning of drum. You should be pointing to the letter D. Say garbage. Point to the letter you hear at the beginning of garbage. That's the letter D. D. That's the letter G. Say cake. Point to the letter that you hear at the beginning of cake. You should be pointing to the letter C. Say gloves. Point to the letter you hear at the beginning of gloves. That's the letter G. Say otter. Point to the letter you hear at the beginning of otter. That's the letter O. For the last three, I'm going to tell you what they are. I want you to write the letter down and then we're going to check together. So write down the letter that you hear at the beginning of octopus. Write down the letter you hear at the beginning of ants. And write down the letter you hear at the beginning of dishes. So for octopus, you should have written down the letter O. For ants, you should have written down the letter A. And for dishes, you should have written down the letter D.